All right, good morning, everybody. Y'all come on in. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Happy Black Women's History Month, ladies. April is Black Women's History Month, so we're going to be highlighting things that Black women are doing and have done. One of the first things I want to show up, and this was in my feed today, Mayor Kim Janey. She's the first Black mayor of Boston, Massachusetts, and I reached out to her and her staff to see if we can get her on the show this month. And again, things are changing. It takes time, but a change is gonna come. So y'all hold tight, and we're about to start the Dr. Sims Daily Show. Well, hello everybody. Happy Good Friday. Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. Easter Sunday. It's just good for us to be here. Good morning. I'm Dr. Sims, host of the Dr. Sim Daily Show, and we have a special guest. She's flown in all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, by way of Birmingham, Alabama, and she looks a little bit like me. And I remember babysitting her several years ago, and now she's the mother of three, holding it down. She's a minister, she's a teacher, she's a mama, she's a daughter, she's a wife. Well, used to be a wife, but I think she may be dating somebody now. I don't know. All is good on the love train, y'all. But anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my oldest baby sister, Benita D. Sims. Hey, what's up, Nene? Hey, Shalonda. Hey, Miss Vanessa. Hey, Wilma. Hey, everybody. Hey, good morning, all my followers. Hey, Mama. I told Mama you're going to be here today, and we give Mama a shout out every day, her and Jeremiah and Ashlyn. Hey, Miss Benita Sims. How you doing, girl?
I am doing just great. How you doing?
Listen, listen. If I was any better, I'd be your brother. Hey, girl, thank you for stopping by. 'Cause we had talked about you opening up the month of April with an interview because this is Black Women's History Month. And we were talking one evening. I said, you know what? You need to be on my show next month. And here we are. The days are going by so fast. So introduce yourself to everybody. And how did we meet?
Well, hello, everybody. It is so awesome to come and for Dr. Sims to invite me into his cyberspace, if you will. So my name is Benita Sims McLean. I am 42 years old, and Dr. Sims is my oldest brother. And not only is he my oldest brother, he's the oldest of the pack. So he's
That's
like
right.
the oldest, and he's older brother. And I tell people this joke all the time. So when I talk to people, and they ask about, how many siblings do you have, and
Right.
that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, it was six of us, four boys, two girls. All of my brothers were older. And when my sister and I were growing up, boys did not like to talk to us. We had five men in the house, right? So
All right.
Dad, he just made these rules about, if a young man comes. First of all, we couldn't date. We sofa sat. But if he came to the house, he couldn't blow the horn. He couldn't just
That's
come
right.
up and be like, okay, hey, I'm out here. It's a little different, I think, now in 21st century. But the brothers and dad were like, the fence that protected us. And so I tell people, check this out,
That's
you
good.
all. When I was in first grade, I was 6 years old. Dr. Sims was a sophomore in college.
That's right.
Well, that looks bald. That looks like a lot. But when you become adults and you begin to share life, the gap doesn't seem so big. But can you imagine being in a home where you have different tiers of ages?
That's right.
Grade, my sister was probably pre-K, and she
That's
was
right.
a sophomore in college.
Isn't that amazing?
I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, as he shared, so that's our home. Stayed at home to go to college, literally. I went to University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Yep.
Stayed at home with my mom and dad. Had never moved out. Had never been on my own, so I stayed home, literally. Majored in English, minored in theater.
Okay.
I was engaged and married really early.
Right.
I engaged at 21, married at 22. So I left my daddy's house, going to a husband's house. So I never lived on my own.
Wow.
I have 3 beautiful children. I was married for 14 and a half years, divorced, and we traveled a lot. So I left Birmingham, moved to Georgia, and then ended where we are here in Nashville, Tennessee. So during that time of having, being married, having 3 children, moving, I was able to finish my graduate work. So I have 2 master's degrees. I have a master's in curriculum and instruction, in teaching. And then I have a master's degree in educational leadership.
How about that?
I've been teaching now for 20 years. This is year 20 for me. I have a principal certification. You name it, all of that during education I have. And I am literally a year away from finishing my EDD, and I'm also a year away from finishing my doctorate of theology. So I'm actually doing them simultaneously.
That is so good.
That's a little bit about me. And I teach school. I teach middle school, and so that is always interesting. And so since the pandemic, our district we were virtual initially, and then we opened where we have both in person and virtual. So I opted to stay virtual. So my children and I, we're here at home virtual every day, and that has been so awesome. And Dr. Sears, you want to know why that's so awesome?
Why is that so awesome? And yes, she is, Philip. She's smarter than me.
Are you ready for this?
Come on.
Because I can go to the bathroom when I want, and I can eat my snacks.
So how have you how are the kids doing during the pandemic? And I should have prompted you a little bit to get Clarence on. But we'll get him on later because he is he's a teenager. You just got his driver's permit. So how have you been able to navigate with the kids during the pandemic? I mean, how did it impact y'all when it first hit last March to now?
Challenging, I would have to say, I think like everybody, but we were in Birmingham when the pandemic first started.
Okay.
So they were attending Mountain Brook High School. So anyone that's familiar with Birmingham, Alabama, we were living in Mountain Brook, Alabama. Right. And so they attended Mountain Brook School. So suburban schools handled it very differently than our urban inner city schools.
Okay.
So when the pandemic first hit, they went immediately to virtual. They had, enormous support, and they had so many resources to make sure they were good.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't miss a beat. The kids did not stop learning. There were no gaps in learning, that kind of thing. And so then once school was over, so the pandemic hit, if I remember correctly, I think we all went home like that second Friday in March.
That's 2020.
Right. So we went from there. They finished the school year to May. And then, of course, we were out for summer.
Okay.
And this is going to sound crazy, you all, but I actually moved during the pandemic. So we left Birmingham and moved back to Nashville, Tennessee in a pandemic. We got here and the school experience was very different.
Okay.
So our school district is an urban inner city district. And so the challenge of our students learning virtually hit in a different way.
Okay.
Because how things are in suburban schools and urban inner city schools are just not the same. We can't even compare. There is no equality or equity there. And so our kids struggle because we have so many things confronting our kids, whether it's a home situation.
That's true.
Academic gaps and achievement, learning deficits, kids not having the technology and the support they need.
Wow.
So the learning curve begins to be very different, and it's wide. So as far as my children, God just blessed us to where they were able to transition well. Believe it or not, they actually love virtual school.
Really?
Kids are very, they, I think out of the three of them, one of them likes the virtual aspect because he can navigate himself. He's that kind of learner where you give it to me, I'm good. I don't want to hear you talking.
Right.
Don't tell me nothing.
Right.
But he likes the social aspect of school, being around the kids.
Right.
The other two, they love both the virtual academic part and the social part, and they love being home.
That's good.
It's been pretty cool. So what I did initially, I just set up everybody their own little office space.
How about
they have their own desk, they have their own office space, they have their own space.
It's like going to work, huh?
Yeah, so they could feel as comfortable as possible. Making sure that they had what they needed, and then making sure that they transition well, because virtual learning is very different.
It is. It is.
Also, out of my three, I have an 11th grader, a 9th grader, and a 4th grader. Out of my three children, two of them do have learning deficits.
Okay.
Where if they were in school, they would have certain supports. And so what I had to do was, along with the learning deficits and knowing what they needed, training them to kind of be able to navigate even when I couldn't get to them, and how to be able to talk with their teachers.
How about that?
So it's just been I would have to say it's been a learning curve for all of us. Definitely a space where we all had to get used to it and be able to be productive.
That is so good.
So the other thing I found interesting, and I hope your audience doesn't crucify me for this.
Okay.
But what I found interesting.
Hold on. Hold on. What else did you find interesting teaching and working and schooling during the pandemic?
Parents, and in most cases, a lot of them, how critical they can be.
Okay.
How judgmental they can be, and with the pandemic, forgetting that we're all in this. It's new for all of us. Nobody knows what we're doing.
Unpack that a little bit when you say judgmental. Kind of go there a little bit. What do you mean?
Finding wrong with everything from teachers are not doing this, and teachers aren't doing this, and kids aren't learning, and kids aren't, oh my God, they don't have what they need, and that kind of thing. But what they have to understand is, especially when kids get to secondary school, that's grades 6 through 12, we only have them 45 minutes a day on a computer like we are now. Yeah. And so you don't get a chance to touch them and talk to them and have them individually. And so you have to be very creative, even how you touch the whole child and how you're able to interact.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Where we have parents who are amazing, and you have those parents that, and so it makes our job even harder, because we're giving everything we have.
That I admire that.
Don't have.
Yeah, I admire you. Kind of come up 100 feet and look down on the children and how they've had to shift how they do school now. My attitude was, give them credit for just at least completing their work, because it's kind of hard to grade them now. You know what I'm saying? So how has the grading and passing them to the next grade, how has that been impacted by virtual learning?
That is a phenomenal question, Dr. Sampson. So like I shared earlier, suburban schools handle theirs very differently, to where the expectations and what they set out for their kids did not change because we had a pandemic. If that makes sense. Okay, so I'm with you. Expectation, grading, how they had always done things, that's how they rolled. When it came to our students, for example, in a lot of our urban inner city schools, we have a lot of attendance issues. They don't consistently log on. They won't come to class. If they're in class, they don't participate. We have a hard time, getting them to turn work in to grade. So one of the things that I did, I went back to some of the things that I learned in my first graduate program, and I began for myself to grade my students holistically. And what that means is, if they're present online, if they participate, and if they turn the assignment in, and you can see that they tried and they put forth an effort, I do the 100-0 thing. If you turn it in and you're here, you're present, 100. If you don't turn in and you're not present, 0.
That's good.
Also, it's the thing. They have the entire grading period to turn work in.
How about that? This is good. This is good.
It's unfair for us, because at the end of the grading period, that last week, you're staying up to 2, 3 in the morning grading assignments that are coming in. Like, for example, we'll just say last grading period started in January, ended in March. So you find yourself at that very end time grading stuff that was dated January 5th.
Wow.
Right? So they'll turn in 7 weeks of work all at the same time. But the thing about our students is they do have the opportunity. So
that's
they
good.
have the time to turn it in. They can turn it in whenever. They can do assignments over again as many times as they want.
That's good.
You know, and they're graded holistically.
That's good.
Can you imagine, though, Dr. Sims, that even with all of those opportunities, we still have students and their families that won't turn in work, won't attend class, won't participate. So, so even with all of those opportunities, so in our urban inner city schools, it's been very challenging. Again, not judging because everybody's situation is very different. Because you do have some kids where, you know, parents, you know, they are in economic hardship.
Right.
So that may affect, you know, internet usage, or that may affect, you know, what they have at home. But guess what? Even in that, our school districts have created plans to support even in that.
That's
so
good. That's good.
I'm sharing the supports are there.
You just gotta want to. You just gotta want to.
Yeah.
You just gotta want to. Let's shift a little bit. Since we talking about the kids, and you got 11th grader, 9th grader, 4th grader. Now that 11th grader, he's excited because he's driving now. You finally got his permit. Something happened the other day. We touched on it last night. You said, "Oh, Sam, I'm glad I'm coming now, being a mother and having a black young male." So what happened the other day with your oldest son?
Well, because this is social media, I can't talk about it like in great detail because it's still an open active case.
Understand.
So I'll give the surface and just kind of give everybody an idea. So I won't go into detail, but the other day, well, let me just preface by saying this. So my boys are straight A students. Yeah. They are both athletes. They are both very involved in their school. They're so involved to where the principals know them by name.
That's awesome.
All of the coaches know them. Now, and I'm going to tell you all why this is funny, and some of you may find humor in this. My children have been virtual all year. They have not been to the school except for basketball practice. All the kids at the school know who they are, and they're virtual.
They are Sims. That's a Sims for you. That's a Sims.
Athletes, so they have practices after school. So they're virtual, but then they have the practices. They get to, you know, so even though they're virtual, they still kind of have a little social aspect because they're in their practices and everything. Right. So the kids know them. Everybody loves them. The teachers, again, my kids are virtual. The teachers have never met them, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, your kids are so amazing," and, you know.
That's so good.
I'm like, okay. Well, with that being said, I had to preface by saying that no office referrals, no trouble, clean record.
That's awesome.
Well, my oldest was learning how to drive. And those of us that are over 40, those of us that were born in the 70s and before, our parents taught us how to drive, right?
That's right.
You know, put us in the car, gave us permission to drive. We didn't have a learner's permit before we started driving. They taught us how to drive. We went and took the test, the knowledge test. We took the road test and got our license. So for me, and that was in Alabama. Right. So I didn't know that here in Tennessee, it's illegal, of course, to drive without a permit.
That's right.
And so my son, we had started driving, and, you know, we were just driving parking lots, you know, trying to keep it simple. Right. But this particular day, he says, "Mom, can I drive home from practice?" Okay. And at first I was like, "No, I told you we're going to do what we need to do, and then we're going to get the permit, and you can drive all you want." But that day, don't ask me why.
You just feeling good.
He asked me to drive, and I said, "Yeah." So I gave him the keys. We're leaving. Now, mind you, we're leaving basketball and track practice. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. Right. As we're coming home, and our home is not far from the school at all.
Give me 5 miles, maybe 5-10 miles.
It's not even that far. Like, wow. We are very close to the school. As we were coming home, you all, and we're on the way home, this man rear-ends us from the back. Okay. So he hits us from the back, damages the car in the back. Okay. And so instead of, clogging traffic, we moved out of traffic into an empty parking lot.
Gotcha.
From there, the man gets out of his car, and he is a Caucasian man, which race doesn't necessarily matter, but it may matter for this story. Okay. So he's a Caucasian man. He gets out of the car. He's very polite. You know, we didn't have any issues, any words. He calls the police, and he calls his insurance company. We share information while we're standing there. We're sharing life stories, what his wife does for
Okay.
that kind of thing. So then, about 25 minutes later, approximately 25 minutes later, it was about 5 minutes to 5 o'clock, the police come.
Wow.
And when they come, she gets out of the car. And again, I'm giving these details because in a minute it will matter. She's a black female officer.
That's awesome.
She comes, she gets out of the car, she asks all the right questions. Okay, what happened? I need to see licenses, registrations for both parties. And the man that hit us, before I could get anything out of my mouth, he tells the officer her son was driving. And she was in the passenger seat, but the son was driving.
Right.
She looks at me and she says, how many people do you have in the car? And I said, well, I have 3. She said, are they minors? I said, yes. She said, they're all minors? I said, yes. And she said, but he was driving. I said, yes. She said, how old is he? I said, he's 16.
Right.
She said, okay, well, since you showed me your license and your registration, let me see his license.
Oh, gotcha.
And at this time, I'm like,
There you go. There you go.
I said, well, he doesn't have a license. And she said, he's driving and he doesn't have a license. She said, okay, no problem. Let me see his permit. And I said, well, he doesn't have a permit because he's a student driver. And she went,
She like, ooh.
Oh, well, she said, whoa. And I said,
that's okay, I'm with you.
She said, I need you to give me a moment. I've got to call my sergeant. And I said, okay.
Right.
She goes and talks to her sergeant, stays in the car for about 15 minutes, comes back. And her whole countenance changed. And she went from being bubbly, nice, and yes to her. I mean, she got sad in the face.
Yeah, I understand.
And I'm like, okay, is everything okay? And she said, ma'am, I have some bad news.
Okay.
So she goes and begins to reach for her handcuffs.
I understand.
So I'm thinking she's gonna take me because I allowed him to drive, and then the rule is if you're ever arrested and you have minors in the car, they take the kids and send them to DHS.
I understand.
So
Wow.
I said, are you gonna take my kids? I'm like, what's happening? She said, no, ma'am, I'm not taking you. She said, I've got to book your son.
Wow.
I've got to arrest him. And I said, are you serious? And she was like, yes. I said, but he's 16. I said, he's never been in trouble. He doesn't have a record.
Wow.
I said, I'm the one who allowed him to drive like this. And she said, well, my sergeant said book him.
Wow.
Because he's driving without a license. By this time, the tears are coming. I'm crying. The Caucasian man that hit us, he was standing there like, is there anything I can do? What can I do? I'm the one. And then he kept saying, well, if I had known that he was, if this was going to be an issue, I would have never said he was driving.
Wow.
But she had her body cams on. And
I understand. Okay. Okay.
So after that, I'm begging, I'm pleading. She said, ma'am, I understand. There's nothing I can do.
Wow.
So I immediately called his coaches. They called the principal of his school. Everybody's on the phone at this time. You're talking to her. They're like, well, ma'am, can't you just give the mom a citation and a ticket? She's like, no, my
wow.
to book in to arrest him. And it was so interesting. They even gave her a time as to what time she needed to have him at the station.
Put on the clock, huh?
So she handcuffed him, put him in the police car. And I'm leaving out a lot of details because it's kind of like the case, but she handcuffed and put him in the car. And I have to give her kudos. She was nice. She was very professional because he was underage. She said, well, ma'am, you can follow us down to the station.
Amen.
While she was doing her little paperwork in the car, she turned her squad car to where we could see him. So by this time, I'm calling family. I didn't call all y'all. I
Amen.
Called his coaches.
So how was Clarence? How was your son? How?
Because I've raised them so that's a great question. So when it all happened, I had to stay very calm because in my spirit, I said he will mirror my energy.
Right.
If I had gotten irate with the police, if I had gotten all uptight, he would have been nervous and uptight.
I understand.
So he mirrored me. He was very calm. And when she pulled around, I swung that police car door open so fast. I went and whispered in his ear. I said, all those, because see, they've been learning things about this in birth. My daddy's been a civil rights activist in Birmingham, and he's doing a lot of first. And we've done all the, what do you call them, eyes on the prize.
All that prep work.
Yeah, we've watched River Runs Red and The Hate You Give, and we're watching all this stuff, documentaries, preparing them because you're a young black man in America, so you need to know this. Not knowing this would ever happen this early.
Wow.
I whispered to him and I said, whatever they ask you to do, you do. you comply. Whatever they ask you to do, and I say, don't make any sudden moves. Don't you jerk. Don't you? You do whatever they ask you to do, right? So he was in the car. They took him down, and I just really didn't believe they were going to arrest him, but they did.
Yeah, how about that?
They booked him, read him his rights, fingerprinted him, and mugshot him.
Wow!
And so they charged him with failure to identify and driving without a license. And the reason they charged him with failure to identify is because I would not release his social security number. I didn't give that. And then he didn't have ID on him when she asked for it. And so they did. And so now he does have a police record. They said at first, oh, it won't count.
My.
He does have a police record. And the only other thing I'll add, because I'm trying not to give too much detail.
That's understand.
While we were there, they told us it would be 30 minutes. He stayed in there from 6:30 at night to 11:30 at night.
Okay.
And it was always something. But I stood there and I told that lady, I said, I am not moving.
Hey, that's what's up. What did you do with the other two?
One of three things.
What were the other two kids?
They were with me.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were with me, but I told her, I said, I'm not leaving this counter until you do one of three things. You either let me see him, you let me talk to him, or you send somebody back there to come back and give a report. Because when we first got there, they were even trying to play like he wasn't in there. Like, who? We don't have anybody by that name. I say, lady.
Hey, come on now.
Everything I love. And I was just as calm and professional. I said, I saw y'all bring my son in here.
That's right.
I know he's here because I followed the police here. I saw her take him up the stairs, and I saw her deliver him here. So he's in here. No, ma'am.
Okay.
We're not showing it in the system. I said, ma'am, I am not leaving this counter until I either see my son, I talk to him, or you get somebody in here to let me know that he's
This
okay.
is good.
So
this
finally,
is good.
a lady comes in and she comes and she says, "Oh yeah, your son is here." You know, and I'm thinking,
like,
it's not that hard. Like, you can't miss a kid just coming in.
Plus one.
But yeah, so he stayed in there. It was a scary experience for him. After after it was all over, we had a chance to talk in dialogue. He told me that he felt traumatized.
Amen.
And he said, "Well, Mom," he said, "what message is that sending?" And I hope this blesses somebody that's listening.
Oh, this is good. This is good.
Mom, what message is that sending to those of us young black men who do what we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
We don't get in trouble. And they still tell us that we're going to be punished for something we didn't do, and they make the law work against us.
Yeah.
And so I do admit, I broke the law. I didn't know it was a law, but I did. I allowed him to drive without a license.
Amen.
Okay. But I think the thing that I was even pushing, and I'm still wanting to advocate for, I don't negate that we broke the law. I don't negate that part. I accept and own that part.
That's good.
The part I can accept is you arresting him, putting him in handcuffs,
right?
Treating, like pretty much posing,
that's
treating
right.
him like a criminal in that sense of mugshotting, fingerprinting, processing. When I found out, and I've been kind of researching, we've been talking to different people, they could have just given me a citation.
That's right. That's the minimum. That's the minimum.
So the officer, she was amazing. So nothing against her. She handled my son very well, but she could have used her officer discretion and opted to give us a citation. But I'm going to tell you what switched, and then I'm going to be done, so I won't talk too much. You know how to give a gap.
Come on.
What switched was, I believe, and I could be totally wrong.
Come on.
I believe that if she had not gone to call her sergeant, and if her body cam was not on, she would have given us a citation.
I understand.
But she was recording everything I said. Every time my son, like if he moved or if she had him in handcuffs, they made sure that they turn around and the body cam is on. They're recording everything. I believe she would have given us a citation, but when she got in that car
and called
and talked to him, and then she comes back and says, "Well, my superior says there's nothing I can do, and he broke the law, so we have to book him." Really?
Right.
Yeah. So he went to jail.
How about that?
He has no record.
Wow.
Never been in trouble.
Wow.
Not a criminal. And they took my child to jail.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow.
Amen.
So thank God. I give him all glory and praise because while he was in there, he's safe. He saw some things that I never thought he would have to see so early. I mean, it's real.
It's a real world like that. And we'll end on this note. And you can be a minister And we'll segue just a little bit. And this is why we're celebrating this weekend.
Yes.
This is why we better be glad we're saved by grace and not the law.
Right. Because I'm gonna tell you, Dr. Sims, why that's important. Because when you have the law, people that call themselves enforcing the law, they don't want to break or bend the law. But when you're dealing in grace, grace is bendable. So grace says that there is that gray area. Grace says
come on,
this space that gives you room to mess up.
That's right.
If you mess up, we have things in place to help catapult you to that next level. But the law says it is what it is. I'm not bending.
That's right.
Broke it, so now.
Hold on. Say that. Let's say that again. Let me set this up again. And this is why what happened with my nephew. This is why we better be glad we're saved by grace and not the law. Expand on that a little bit, preacher.
Because I even think in the grace part, I think that as God covers us and He and the Holy Spirit work in us and through us, it even controls how we respond.
That's right.
So we are in charge of our response. And I will share this with you all. Last detail. The officer said to me, and I hope that people are listening. I hope that no one finds offense in this. See, these are the things
that no
one wants to talk about.
That's good.
The elephant in the room. But to all of my fellow people of color out here, if we don't talk about it, we will never resolve the issue.
That's right.
Never problem resolute. She says to me, and I hope y'all listen, because this is what
come on.
African American Women's Month.
Yeah, come on.
She said to me out of her own mouth, she said, ma'am. She said, thank you. And I said, why are you thanking me? She said, I've been doing this now for a while. And she said, you are one of the few. She said, I can count on one hand, 3 fingers.
My Lord.
How many Black women I have met that did not cuss me, kick at me, spit at me, call me everything under the sun. If I have to arrest a juvenile and the parent is there, you ain't gonna arrest my son. You this, And she said, you didn't do that.
Grace.
And she told me out of her own mouth,
Grace.
she said, I was scared to death.
My
to
Lord.
come tell you that I had to take your son.
My Lord.
She said, I didn't know how you were responding. Then she said, what puts the icing on the cake? She said, your son was so mannerable and respectful to me. And basically all he said was, she said, when I told him, Clarence, step out of the car, I'm going to now have to cuff you. He willingly gave me his hands and said, yes, ma'am.
That's my nephew. That's my nephew.
So to all of you that are out there, I know people may disagree with this, and it's okay. And I know there have been cases with us African Americans and people of color where they complied and they still ended up dead or still ended up hurt. But I still believe there is something to be said about our response in how we handle certain things. So if you are calm and comply and something still happens to you, that's a whole other can of worms we get to attack.
That's a good word. That's a good word. That's a good word.
About the grace and the law. Grace allows me to stay calm when I want to cut up.
Grace
allows me to stay in my God character when I wanna show out, but grace says no.
That's good.
Look, grace says you are a woman of God. You are a kingdom citizen. You will act like a kingdom citizen. And kingdom citizens, we stand in faith. We stand like the tree planted by the rivers of water. And I feel that they stand there.
That's good.
Watching my son handcuffed be put in a police car because at that time God said it is well.
That's right.
I will never leave you. I will not forsake
That's
you.
good.
And God gives you that level of peace.
That's right.
But yeah, man, it was.
And tell my nephew as he ponders about what happened. Tell my nephew, and you know this. Tell my nephew, because he has a good record, because he does everything in excellence, because he is respectable and mannerable, because that's why he only stayed in there 5 hours versus 3 days or 4. And so we do wonder, why did this happen to me? But look at how you dealt with it. And this adds to your testimony. Tell him all he needs now is a tattoo. Well, how can people keep up with my baby sister?
Definitely you can follow me, livingridiculouslyamazing@gmail.com. If you have any questions or if you want to reach out, livingridiculouslyamazing@gmail.com. I am on Instagram, Living Ridiculously Amazing, and on Facebook, living ridiculously amazing.
Girl, you know, I am so, and we were talking about Felicia. I'm so proud of Felicia, and I'm telling the world, and I'm publicly telling you on live television, I am so proud of you. And Philip, again, Philip, she is much smarter and cuter than me.
But you know what? But I'm gonna tell you, and so I also want to say this. When we look at the African American community, and I know culture has created this space
Amen.
where there's a lot of animosity.
It is.
There's a lot of tension and hate amongst us as a race. Black women, you know, struggling to love and respect the black man.
Right.
Black men struggling to respect and love on the black woman. But
Right.
I just want to share today, Dr. Sam, that I believe that black men and black women need each other.
Yes, we do.
We need
Yes,
all
we
people.
do.
We need each other. But in this particular case,
Yeah.
if nothing else, we should be able to stand in solidarity and we should be able to stand in unity. Because see, these types of scenarios, oh my goodness.
Amen.
And so I just think that, you know, as a race of people, I think there are so many areas where
That's
we can
good.
touch and get better in
Amen.
and better on. But also with this situation with my son, if it can happen to us,
Come on.
and it can happen to anybody.
Yeah,
And so, you know,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you hug those babies for us, and I love you, and we got to bring you back. We got to bring you back because I told Mama last weekend she need to stay off those dating sites.
You know what?
She laughed so hard.
Too much.
She laughed so hard, but I got to bring you back, and we got to talk
Yeah.
about relationships and all that good stuff. But it's been a wonderful interview, sweetie, and I love you. And
You're
hug
so
those
awesome.
babies, and I just love you, girl. And
love
just
you.
keep doing what you do, girlfriend.
Yes, I will. And you too, Minister Motivation. Yeah, look, you rock. You know I follow you.
All right, get on out of here, y'all. That was my baby sister.
Bye, y'all.
She just like totally awesome. I love her. Y'all hold tight, and we're gonna be right back. We got a lot to talk about in a little bit of time, so I'm gonna run to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
Hey now, if you'd like to donate today to the Dr. Walter Sims Show, please donate at Cash App, $Walter H. Sims. Yes, that's Cash App, $WALTERHSIMS. That's Cash App, $Walter H. Sims.
Hey, listen, do me a favor. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Run to www.drwaltersims.tv. Hit that subscribe button, and it doesn't cost you anything to do that. But we're moving toward 1,000 subs, so I can automatically go live on my website. So do me a huge favor. Go to drwaltersims.tv, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. Listen. You know I had to do it. When it hit the theaters, you know I had to be first in line to go see Godzilla versus Kong. It's really no spoiler alert. You know they're gonna have like maybe a 3-round fight. And then there's another big bad guy that both of them got to combine forces to eliminate the adversary. So it is a great movie. I mean the fights, the storyline, not so much, but the fights, yeah, you love to see alpha males go at it. It was good. Game, recognized game, but it was good. So if you got an hour and maybe 40 minutes, 50 minutes this resurrection weekend, check out Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, I was like, oh. It was good, but anyway, that's the movie of the week, Godzilla versus Kong. All right, Derek Chauvin's defense backed by $1 million from the Minneapolis Police Union Fund, a 12-lawyer team. And basically all they're doing is trying to disprove that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. It's blowing my mind. The extent that they are going through to prove that he did not kill George Floyd. And again, that's why I just shake my head. How much money they are funneling toward his defense team to simply disprove what we saw happen in real time last May. He was killed on national television, broad daylight. We witnessed a murder, primetime television. I have no words. I have no words. I have no words. And prayerfully, justice will be. Justice will be. Justice will be. If justice is not served, if this goes left, Miss Vanessa, we got to start praying right now. Shalonda, Phillip, Marcus, Preacher, Wilma, we got to start praying right now. He better get something. He better spend some time in jail. I don't care how long it is. He needs to be convicted. I don't care if he spent a day in jail. He needs to get convicted. It needs to go on his record. If my nephew can get booked, fingerprinted, and mug shot for not having a driver's permit, this brother killed a man. He better get some. We need to start praying right now. You remember that movie New Jack City? And the verdict didn't come out how they wanted it. And Wesley Snipes' character at the end of that trial, somebody shot him at the end of the trial. You remember that? We'll see. That's right. And amen. We'll see. We'll see. That's all I'm gonna say. The trial's still going on. Derek Chauvin trial, live updates. Police supervisor says cop could have ended restraint of George Floyd. I'm gonna show a couple of videos from Quentin Giles to kind of summarize where we are. But Derek Chauvin, and remember last year they was going through all the data. Derek Chauvin and George Floyd knew each other. Now I don't know the extent, but I think they may have worked at the same bar, security. I believe, and this may never come out in court, Derek had it in for George. And that may never come out in this trial. But in my heart of hearts, I believe Derek had it in for George, and this opportunity afforded itself. And he took advantage of this situation. And his intent was to kill George Floyd. Now, I saw another TikTok yesterday. If Derek Chauvin, after this long stint, neonet, if he had said, EMT, help, I need help, I believe the suspect is in trouble, we would not be having a trial. Because that one statement would have absolved him of any wrongdoing. But his arrogance and his pride, his intent was to kill George Floyd.
I did.
And what did you determine at that point?
They were large, dilated.
So you determined that his pupils were large and dilated. What about a pulse?
I did not palpate a pulse.
And when you say palpate, is that you didn't feel or detect a pulse?
I did not detect a pulse.
And what did his condition appear to be to you overall?
In lay terms, I thought he was dead.
So we are in a lunch break for the Derek Chauvin trial for the murder of George Floyd. What we have seen, I think, which is the most, again, damning testimony out of, it's all damning, but the second paramedic has testified, and he is the paramedic that arrived on the scene that actually took George Floyd's pulse. Well, there was no pulse. He's the one that checked for the pulse. And in his testimony, he said, he was so blunt with it. He was like, I thought he was dead. Like, when I got there, I thought he was dead. Very clear, very straightforward. No emotion, if you will, kind of like the other witnesses, because they sat there and watched it. So he was just like, look, I came to do my job. This is what was happening. The man was dead when I got there. The man was dead when we put him in the rig. The man never revived once we got him to the hospital. So he was dead on the street under the knee.
So again, I simply believe the George Floyd, this trial, Derek Chauvin's trial, his defense is simply trying to disprove what we all know happen, and we saw it in real time. He was dead. When those EMTs got him, he didn't have a pulse. But so we'll keep our eyes and ears open. I am purposely not watching the trial because to me it doesn't make sense. It's open shut. While this is going on all week, 5 days, it's open shut. But anyway, we'll see if this judicial system, we'll see how it works. And we all know that there are two set of rules. But anyway, as my sister and I were saying, we better thank God, Miss Vanessa. We better thank God we are saved by grace. Oh, we gonna have a good time this weekend. Resurrection Sunday. We need a Good Friday service. So I'll see if we can do a Good Friday service either late tonight or early in the morning. Have a special service for Good Friday, and then Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. We better be glad we're saved by grace. Yeah, just give me the highlights. I want the cliff notes. Amen. I just want the cliff notes. Let's see what our power word for today. Listen, the power word for today is urgency. Importance requiring swift action. I was working with my client in Tampa the other evening, and I said, your word for today is urgency. You need to handle everything in your life with some urgency. And I'm talking to you today. Somebody needs to hear this. You need to have some get up and go with some urgency. What I got to do is I'm living on purpose, and I have to do this. What did Jesus say at 12 years old? I must be about my Father's business. He died on the cross. Calvary was his mission. And early that Sunday morning, he got it with all power in hand. He lived his purpose. Are you living on purpose? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? You ought to get in a hurry. Tomorrow is not promised to us. Yesterday is in the tomb. Tomorrow is in the womb. Time may have a miscarriage, and your tomorrow may never be born. Get in a hurry. Have some urgency about you. What bothers me is people don't live with urgency. Tomorrow is not promised to us. We don't know if we're going to wake up in the morning. We don't know. We don't know the next moment. So I was talking to Jay the other night, Miss Vanessa. She's had death in the family. Jay Coleman Walker now. She had death in the family. And it just touched her. It just hit her different. And I said, this is why we must love every day and live every day to the fullest, because tomorrow we don't know. We don't know. It's April the 2nd already, and we just don't know what lies in the next moment. Oh, I need some help today, y'all. I need some help. I feel good right now, y'all. I feel good. I feel good. I feel good. You ought to be excited about your life, and this is why you ought to be living on purpose.
You know me? Huh? You know me? Yes. You know me? Yes. You know me?
Listen, guys, I said the true measure of love the other day was forgiveness. I got another true measure of love is how much you're willing to sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, do you really love? If you're not willing to give of yourself without looking for anything in return, if you're not willing to lay down what you want to pick up what somebody else wants and needs, do you really love that individual? I asked this question the other night. Do you love him? Well, I have love for him. I said, well, let me ask you another way. Are you in love? No. And so when you're not in love, that doesn't beg this question. But when you love somebody, big man sacrifices for Miss Vanessa, and Miss Vanessa sacrificed for big man. Shalonda sometimes, she made this this mug for me. Shalonda made this. Her design by Extreme Design Extreme. Shalonda made this for me, and it's customizable. Her business. She designs things for her clients. She forgoes her business sometimes to help her husband's business. That's a sacrifice. If you're in love, if you're in a relationship, you got to be willing to sacrifice. What did Jesus tell his disciples? I don't call you servants, you're my friend, because I'm going to lay my life down for you. Y'all better help me. Designs by Extreme. Thank you, Shalonda. She made this. It's got the picture of my books on it. It's got Alabama Crimson Tide. It's got Dr. Walter Sims, Can I Get a Roll Tide? The elephant. And she did this for me. I told her I was going to give her a shout out. So sometimes she doesn't do her own business. And she doesn't worry about how she's feeling that day. If Sean needs something, she's Johnny on the spot or Juanita on the spot. But the true measure of love is how much you're willing to sacrifice. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish. Somebody needs to hear this today. If you say you love somebody, the true measure of love is how much you are willing to sacrifice. And when you're willing to sacrifice, is not what you have to do. It's what you want to do. Shalonda made me this mug, designed by Extreme. And she forgoes her own business sometimes to help her husband's business. That's love. And if you're not willing to forego your wants and desires for that person that you love, are you really in love? Love is not a feeling, it's action. And we see that this weekend. Jesus died on that cross. Oh, but he didn't stay dead. Early that Sunday morning, he got up with all power in his hand. And remember, guys, if you have a question, let your followership know that if you have a question, you need answers, you got questions about life, love, religion, relationship, family, business, whatever. I believe in two things, God and Google. If you have a question, just shoot me a question. And I got a testimony from my client the other night in Tampa. Hold on a second. Let's do a quick commercial and I'll be right back. Let me see if I got it. Come on, video. Hey, Liz, how has it been to have me as your life coach?
It's been a life-changing experience, honestly, Dr. Sims. Since I first met you on Periscope or watched you, you always brought a smile to my life and helped me through the darkest times and helped me learn the methods that would improve my life. I've had a lot of issues over the years with, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, relationship issues, things like that. And I've worked with so many different people, psychologists, psychiatrists, and there's nothing that's been more impactful and made a difference in my life than your coaching has.
Oh, thank you. Do you suggest that people that need a life coach reach out to me?
Yes. Like I said, I hit so many dead ends working with psychologists and even like different, cognitive therapy, different types of techniques. And I have not seen any results from all of that work in over so many years until I finally started working with you. And it's changed my life.
Amen. Thank you. Hey, Liz, what would you say the biggest thing that you have learned working with a life coach?
The biggest thing is to be honest. You have to trust your life coach 100%. And that means being honest with him or them and yourself. And you have to do the homework. No one's going to change it for you. They're there to guide you. They're your coach. They will show you the way. It's up to you to make the change and be honest and trust yourself, trust your coach, and trust the process.
Did I ever tell you what to do?
No. You helped me come to the realization on my own and guided me in a way that made me feel comfortable with the decision and knowing what I have to do inside myself.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, listen. Coaches have two issues, affordability and accessibility. And so I've designed something that takes care of both of those. I have the Motivation Zone. Somebody signed up yesterday. Hey, and we're moving toward 300. So that's why the price point is where it's at, and that's going to go up. And so you need to hop on right now. You're going to get 5 things: a free ebook, Walk in Purpose, Grow Rich, a Living Motivated, Get Your Notebook Journal, and a suggestion was made. Thank you. She know who she is. I pulled down all of the videos that I did last April. Remember when we did the Am I Climbing the Right Mountain? A training series. And it's basically talking about, are you walking in your purpose? Because the worst feeling in the world would be to get to the top of your mountain only to realize you got a red flag, but it's a blue mountain. And you were so intent climbing the mountain, so excited, you never did a spot check up the mountain. And you were climbing the wrong mountain, but you didn't realize it. All you knew, you had a flag. You on a mountain. You get to the top of the mountain, you pitch the flag. That's the worst feeling in the world. And so many times, a lot of us are doing the wrong thing. We have the heart, and we're excited, motivated, and all that good stuff, but it's the wrong mountain. And you don't want to stand before God one day during your accounting or reconciliation, and God looks at you and say, you know what? You lived that whole life and you did the wrong thing. And you're not going to get awarded for doing the wrong thing. Like I'm not Shalonda, and Shalonda not Dr. Sam. I'm not Miss Vanessa, Miss Vanessa not me. I'm not Wilma's not me, I'm not Wilma. I'm not Philip, Philip's not me. Marcus is not me. You have an assignment. And if you're not doing that assignment, you want to hear well done one day. And you're going to get a seat in my monthly mastermind. We teach at the end of the month, the last Tuesday of the month. I love that. We just had a talk this past Tuesday. It was good. And then you're going to get a monthly Zoom call with me. Just that training series is worth the subscription, and it is 30 days worth of stuff. It's some good meat in that training series. I love that. It's some good meat. It's some good meat in that. Oh, that thing is good. That thing is good, son. That's good. But for a limited time, so you can go to my link tree, and it says sign up for the Motivation Zone. And Miss Vanessa put my link tree in the bubble. But we are challenged right now. We're in a pandemic, and resources are limited. But you still ought to be shining your peace of mind. Because what have I said? And I'm going to bring this back. What have I said all this time? If you do not come out of this crisis more focused, more empowered, more motivated, and inspired to live on purpose, you have not lacked time. You have lacked desire, determination, and discipline. You ought to be sharpening your piece of iron every day. You ought to be better today than you were yesterday. That's the only competition you have. You ought to be better today than you were yesterday. You feel me? Have we had a good show today, y'all? I want to again thank Benita, my guest Tuesday. If nothing changes, my guest Tuesday is my coach. And we've been together 11 years now. So I am excited about Tuesday. But don't forget, guys, church on Sunday morning. It's Resurrection Sunday. So church Sunday morning, I may surprise you with a Good Friday service. I'll let you know. But we've had a great show today. And again, I just text Benita and said, girl, that was good. Thank you, Benita. Thank y'all for being here today. I love my show, y'all, and I really appreciate y'all. And just share this with your followership. And make sure you go to drwaltersim.tv and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The numbers are growing. And you know what's so funny? I'm going to say this and I'm gone. You know what's so funny? You got to have followers to get sponsors, but you need sponsors to get followers. So y'all just keep sharing me as much as you can, all right? And just remember, happy Good Friday again. And just remember, if you stay high on life, life is going to stay high on you.
Hey now, if you'd like to donate today to the Dr. Walter Sims Show, please donate at Cash App, $Walter H. Sims. Yes, that's Cash App, $WALTERHSIMS. That's Cash App, $Walter H. Sims.